Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Switch on your video. Feeling sleepy, Amal? Yawning in the morning itself? I was also yawning in the last hour. Weekend, no? Lazy weekends. But you have lots of assignments and all those things to complete. So please don't waste time by sleeping. Take enough rest and complete the works also. Yeah, so back to the portion. We'll probably finish this chapter by today. What is a constancy, Grishma? What do you mean by a constancy? What do you understand by the term constancy? Perceptual constancies. Yes. Grishma? Grishma, perceptual
Yes, ma'am.
constancies.
Perceptual constancies.
Yes.
Uh, when we um, when we sense a stimuli
Hmm.
in a condition, and um, we keep that constant state in mind even though it changes.
Okay, our perception remains constant. We are learning constancies in terms of the perception, right? So whatever the stimulation, whatever changes in the stimulus happens, our perception of that object or stimulus remains constant. That is perceptual constancy. Which are the three types of constancies, Amal? Three types of constancies.
Size constancy,
Size constancy. Then,
shape,
hmm? Shape. Is it shape? Shape constancy. Then one more. Size, shape, and
the brightness constancy,
brightness constancy. Okay,
the
very good.
brightness.
Okay, fine. Now, do you know what an illusion is? Hmm? I'm yawning. What is an illusion?
Pictures that trick our mind.
Huh?
Pictures those trick our mind.
Pictures those trick our mind. Okay, then have you studied about illusions before? No. Are you familiar with the term hallucination? Hallucination? What is hallucination? Anyone?
When we
Reina?
see things that are not there, we imagine things.
We see things that are not there. Okay, that is hallucination. How is hallucination different from illusion? Any idea? Have you ever thought about it? No. Illusions and hallucinations are of no interest. Yes or no? Give me a response.
In hallucinations, we imagine.
Hmm. An
But
illusion?
in illusions, uh, it's all about the way we interpret it.
The way we interpret it. Okay. Any other viewpoints? No. Okay, so the basic difference between hallucination and illusion is that illusion has a stimulus. Okay? While hallucination may not have a stimulus. In illusion, what happens is whatever stimulus we see, we misinterpret it. Okay? That's why we are learning that in illusion. Perception. Perception is all about the interpretation. So what happens is, when you see a stimulus, you misinterpret the stimulus, or you misinterpret the object, or whatever is in front of you, you misinterpret it. That is known as illusion. While hallucination, you don't need a stimulus. I'll give you an example. You see a rope lying on the floor. Okay? And I'll give you two situations. In one situation, you see the rope and then you think that, or you perceive it as a snake, and you run away from the rope. Okay? That is one situation. Now the next situation is, the floor is clear, the floor is clean, there is nothing on the floor, but you see a snake and you run away from the room. Which is illusion and which is hallucination?
Second one is hallucination.
Second one is hallucination, and the first one is
Illusion.
obviously illusion. So for an illusion to happen, there needs to be a stimulus on an object. Okay? While hallucinations, it's everything in the mind. Like there is a disorder called schizophrenia. Are you familiar? That's a very interesting disorder. If you want, Google and see. Very, very, very interesting disorder. I'll give the spelling if you want. SCHIZOPHRENIA. Schizophrenia. We have different types of schizophrenia. We have paranoid schizophrenia, we have differentiated schizophrenia, unorganized schizophrenia, residual schizophrenia, hebephrenic schizophrenia. So many schizophrenias are there. The main or the prominent symptom in that is hallucinations. They can get hallucinations from all the senses. That is, visual senses. They see people who don't exist in front of them. They hear sounds that don't exist. That is, they hear voices. They hear voices like that command them. If I am a patient, if I am a schizophrenic patient, or you shouldn't call that name. You should say a patient with schizophrenia. You shouldn't call a schizophrenic patient. Instead, what you should say is a patient or a person with schizophrenia. Okay, labeling is not allowed in our ethics. Yes. So what happens is, if I am a patient with schizophrenia, then I'll be talking to voices who are talking to me. Like they'll be commanding me to go there, kill that person. Sometimes the voices will tell that you are a waste, you are a fool, you are not useful for everyone, you are dumb, you're not beautiful, you're not pretty, all those things. You hear all those voices. Then you can have delusions. Delusions are strong beliefs that we hold about something which are not true. Okay, I believe that Reina and Elvina are planning something, and they are trying to kill me. I strongly believe that, if I'm such a patient. Okay, so they are delusions. So the hallucinations and delusions, and we have another set of symptoms, that is flattened effect, all those emotional problems along with this in the disorder of schizophrenia. Okay, this is extra information, nothing related to our studies. So there is a film called A Beautiful Mind.
A Beautiful Mind. Yeah, I've seen.
Beautiful Mind. That's a beautiful movie.
I was gonna say.
Yeah. In that, what was the person's name, Reina?
I forgot last.
John Nash.
Yeah. My mom recommended.
Yeah. That movie, if you want, you can go and watch that movie. It's a weekend anyway. But you have psychology assignment to be submitted on Monday.
He
Anyways.
sees the persons like not that they don't exist.
Yeah, he had severe schizophrenia. Yeah, he believes that he has some chip inside his wrist. Some chip inserted inside his wrist, and when he is admitted to the hospital, he tries to convince the others by ripping his wrist and trying to find out where the chip is. My teacher suggested this to me to see the movie, so you can go and watch if you want. A Beautiful Mind. That is the name of the movie, and it's the John Nash is again a Nobel Prize winner. Actually, he was very intelligent person, but unfortunately, he had this disorder. Yeah, fine. Coming back to our illusion. So today's topic is illusions. Illusions, I told you, they are misinterpretations of the stimulus. I share the screen. I hope you can see. Yes? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Illusions, misperceptions, write down the definition, misperceptions resulting from misinterpretation of information, misinterpretation of information received by our sensory organs. I'll read it once more. Misperceptions resulting from misinterpretations of information received by our sensory organs. And in that film, that A Beautiful Mind, there is a dialogue that his wife says. I told you, he has hallucinations and delusions. He believes that he is a secret agent of something. Oh, should I say the story actually? Anyways, you know the person has a disorder. So the wife tells to the doctor that we really feel bad when people whom we love passes away, right? Something like that. The concept is this: we really feel we get very distressed and very low when someone we love leaves us. They pass away. Okay, so imagine a situation where the person you have been talking with or the person you have been mingling with, one day you realize that that person never exists. Just imagine that situation. You have been talking with the person, you have been exchanging the conversation with the person, and next day you realize that such a person does not really exist. It's your imagination. Very drastic situation, no? Yeah, I just got that scene in my mind. That's why I discussed. Anyway, back to our illusions. Yeah, there are mainly two types of illusions. I mean, not category, but we can discuss in two terms. That is universal or permanent illusion and personal illusions. Yeah, the two main types of illusions. Universal or permanent illusion means they are the same for everyone. These illusions are the same for everyone. It does not change with experience or any proper learning or age. It does not change. It is universal for everyone. They are permanent in nature. Okay? They do not change with person to person. They are known as universal or permanent illusion. I'll give you notes on this. Just understand, just write what you understand from the class. Then personal illusions, just the opposite of universal illusion. What would it be? What would it be?
Different for different persons.
Yeah, it is different for different people. That is, these illusions change from person to person. They are known as personal illusions. Okay? It's a very simple topic. Illusions, very simple topic. We have so many illusions in psychology, but we are just learning geometrical illusions and the motion, ones related to apparent movement illusion. We are just learning that as of now. So, who will want to volunteer for the next task? Volunteers? I should, yeah. Okay. See the picture on the left? Yeah. Which is the longer line?
The first one.
First one is the longer line, yes. Then the second picture, which is the longer one?
Vertical one.
Vertical one. So it is again just your illusion because both the lines are equal. I show you. I don't know if you can see this. See in the screen. Can you see? I've just Close the arrows. See the line? Or just with your finger try drawing a line from the top, I mean the one end of the first line to the other end of the second line. Just try. Are they the same? Yes? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah, the first one, the first picture is known as Mulla-Laya illusion. And the second one is vertical horizontal illusion. And the second picture also, just because it is vertical in nature, it seems to be larger one. But in fact, both the lines are of equal size. Okay. If you want, after the class, take a scale and measure and see. Okay. Yeah. The first illusion happens because we learned the, what did we learn? The principle of closure. Remember? Our mind tends to fill the gaps and close all the gaps and see. So in the second arrow, the arrows are closed. Sorry, just a minute. Yeah, the arrows are closed. I mean, they are coming inwards. So what happens is our mind tends to fill that gap. And we see it as a very small thing. While in the first line, what happens? It is expanding. Our mind expands it towards the left and right side. So we perceive that the first line is bigger. If you remove the both arrows, the arrowheads, then you can see that both the lines are equal. Okay, that's the first illusion, Mulla-Laya illusion. And the second one is vertical horizontal illusion, in which the vertical lines appear to be larger or longer than the horizontal lines. Fine. They are the two illusions. So we have two types of illusions in the geometrical illusions. They are Mulla-Laya illusion and vertical horizontal illusion. Mulla-Laya illusion and vertical horizontal illusion. You will have a test on this. I mean, I'm not talking about the examination. I'm talking about the psychological test. We have a psychological test to measure the Mulla-Laya illusion. Just a minute. Yes, understood Mulla-Laya and the vertical horizontal illusion? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Now next section is apparent movement illusion. Can you see the things moving? Yes? Look from one point to the next in the screen. Can you see them moving? Yes? Everybody? Ashish, can you see them moving? Yes. Sana?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay. So they are all apparent movement illusions. Are they really moving? Do you think they are really moving? They are just 2D images, no? So they aren't moving. I haven't put a video here. So trust me, I haven't put a video here. They are just images and our mind perceives it to be in motion. So next one is apparent movement illusion. And the thing that you have to learn under apparent movement illusion, there are different types and different images that you can give as examples for apparent movement illusion. One concept in that is phi phenomenon. Write down phi phenomenon. Okay, I'll read out the definition. Please write down that also. This illusion is experienced, or you can write, it is the illusion that is experienced when some motionless pictures are projected one after another at an appropriate rate. Okay? When some motionless pictures are projected one after another at an appropriate rate. Look at the screen. Have you seen this thing? In a book on different pages, we give each of the image. And then we'll just do it like this. We'll turn the pages very fast and you can observe the horses. Turning or moving. Okay? I hope you have seen this. When we turn the pages, we can see, and there are different comics also similar to this. And this is the concept that we use for films. And in animation also. Animation, anybody interested in studying animation? Animation, graphic design, all those things. Yeah, what they do is they draw the sequence of pictures. They draw for each movement, they draw one picture. They project it together in such a speed, and then only we can see the characters as moving. Okay, that's what happens in animation. So the psychological concept behind animation and all those things, the films and all is phi phenomenon. What is it? Phi phenomenon, yes. So that's about phi phenomenon. And during Christmas, you can see, not only during Christmas, you can see the LED lights. They appear to be moving. They appear to be running. Have you seen? Yes. And you can see the reindeer's legs moving to and fro. In front of shops and all, they have all these decorations. The light decor, the LED decor and all. You can see the legs of the sleigh deer as moving to and fro. And the sleigh tends to go up and down. Yeah. Christmas is near, so observe it. Okay, that's about phi phenomenon, and that's all about the illusions, I hope. Yeah, geometrical illusions and apparent movement illusion. They are the two types of illusions that we have to learn about in main. And the first thing, what did we learn? Two category based on the people who experience it. What were that? What were the terms? Personal and
Permanent.
Universal permanent illusion.
Universal or permanent illusion. You can call it universal illusion or permanent illusion. So if I ask you what is the other name for universal illusion, what will you write?
Permanent.
What will you write? Permanent illusion. Okay. So understood illusions? Okay, what are illusions now? Who knows? Let me ask. Ashish, did you understand what illusions are? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, what are illusions? Don't look and read. Just tell me what you understood.
The stimulus is involved.
Please be louder.
The stimulus is involved.
Can you place your mic towards your mouth and speak? I can't hear anything. That's why.
The stimulus is involved.
Stimulus
Moment.
is involved. Yes, sure.
Moment.
Hmm.
We think it
Stimulus
is moving.
We think it is moving. We think it exists. We think it is some other thing. So misinterpretation of stimulus happens. What happens?
Misinterpretation.
Okay, you have a stimulus and then you misinterpret it. So if I show you this is what? What is this?
One.
One. What is this exactly?
Finger.
Finger. Whose finger?
Sneha ma'am's finger.
Sneha ma'am's finger. Very good. Then if I show this to some other patient with schizophrenia, let's just consider. Then the person would see this as a lollipop or a chocolate or maybe a stick. Okay. Understood?
Yes.
Okay. So in illusions, you misinterpret the stimulus. In hallucinations, you don't need the finger. You just see some sticks flying in the air. Yeah, people even see that. And I'll tell you something interesting from our internship. When we were taking cases, what happened is one lady, she was telling us about her story, why she's here, why she's admitted in the hospital. And she was telling that she had a lover. She's of age some 40s or 50s. She's in some 40s or 50s. She's not yet married. Okay. And she was brought to the hospital by her brother. And what happens is she has a lover, and he has some other identity. He has some other identity. Only she knows what this person's real identity is. And she gave us some name. I don't remember. She gave us a name, and we were hearing her story. She's telling that this guy told her that he'll come to ask for her, like to marry her. He was coming to. He told several times to her that he is coming home for talking to her brother to propose her and to fix their marriage. Okay, this lady is not yet married. She is of 40s or 50s or 60s, I don't know, in that age, just going to reach old age now. And this lady was telling the story again, and this guy is a very busy person. He's a very busy person. He's a very well-known person. He's a philosopher. He writes very well. She's giving us hints. Okay, she's describing the person. He's a philosopher. He writes very well. And also, this person is very famous. And she's laughing. She's sitting and smiling and laughing. And we asked why. Then this person is telling us, you all know the person. You all know this person very well. Then we were asking, who's the person? Then she's she's blushing and she's shy. She's full of very much, she's showing so much of shy behaviors. And we were asking, just tell me. I told her, just tell me. We won't tell anyone. Then she's telling, do you know the actor Anub Menon? Then we told, yes, Anub Menon. Yeah, very fine, Anub Menon. Then she was telling, yeah, he is the one. Please don't tell anyone. Please don't share this information with anyone. Nobody knows his real name. This is the person. And he was very busy. That's why he didn't come last time. Then we asked, then why are you still here? You are supposed to be at home, no? He'll be coming there to propose you. We asked that. And then she was telling, yeah, I got very angry when he when he told that he won't come last time. He was busy. He couldn't make it last time. So I got very angry. I shouted at my brother. I threw things around and I got a bit violent. That's why my brother thought of taking me to the hospital. That's why she was brought to the hospital. Do you think this all those things that she told is truth? Yes? Yes or no?
No.
Yeah, we never know actually, but we have to check with the format, the mental status examination. We have to do that. When we have a format for case study, we have to check that, and then we have to confirm that all these are delusions. Delusions means strong beliefs about something which is not true, which does not exist. Okay? So there are people like this. What to do?
Ma'am,
Yeah.
one film is there you have seen, I don't know, like Priyamani is considering one person, only she can see.
Which
Like,
is the film?
I don't remember the name, but
Anne
like,
Mary. Who's that?
Anne-
Is anybody missing from our class? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No. So there's somebody else. Okay. Do you remember the name? Anybody who knows the name? I don't remember. I think I haven't seen.
like is Jairam is there, Priyamani, Jairam.
Priyamani Jairam combo.
Like Naren is an illusion person. I mean that person.
That must be her hallucination then.
That one.
The person doesn't exist then. That's hallucination. Yeah. That's any other experiences that you have had? Yes. And when I talked about hallucination, I just remembered another person. Hallucination not only exists in the visual field and the auditory field, but they are dominant. Most of the times they are most common. That is, auditory hallucination and visual hallucinations are the most common. But there was this interesting case. where again a middle-aged person. He was everyone were there with him, the bystanders. His son was there, his wife was there, and his problem is he goes and bath every now and then. And then if we ask why, he's telling that there is some rotten smell coming from the room. And then we ask from where is it coming? He's telling from his own body, from his own sweat. But 24 into 7 he wears all these attar and all the perfume and all these things. There is too much of smell in that room because of this attar and all these perfume and all these things. None of us gets the smell of the rotten egg or the rotten smell, but he keeps on getting. That is what all olfactory, isn't olfactory? Yeah, hallucination. I think it's olfactory. Did I confuse the name? I think so. It means the smell. Smells, hallucination in the smell, the sense of smell. That is another case. Yeah. If you take up clinical psychology, you can see people like this. Then there are some people who would be, yeah, they'll come and introduce you in some other name, but in fact, the person will be somebody else. He'll tell that he is a film actor, he is a well-known businessman, he is a very well-known writer, actor. He even, some people even say that they are God. They are God, incarnation of God, or a messenger of God. God has sent me to this world to do this. God has instructed me to do this. Blah, blah, blah. All disorders we can't help. Yeah, that's about our chapter. One more thing regarding illusions. Socio-cultural influences on perception. Please take that page. In that, they are discussing about two things. One is studies in Africa, one is in Western countries. So what they say is Africans or people in Africa, they have seen a lot of big trees, tall trees. And because of that, they are very prone to vertical horizontal illusion. So they perceive the vertical line as longer, always, most of the time. Okay, so they are very prone to the vertical horizontal illusion because they have seen all these things in their environment. So which means their socio-cultural environment might influence their perception. Okay, that is one example regarding Africans. Then we have another study conducted in Western countries. And the textbook says that the Western countries, they are very prone to see things in right angles. They have different objects, the buildings and all those things in right angles. Most of the buildings in Western countries are of rectangular shape and all, no? So they have right angles in there. That is why they are more prone to Mullalaya illusion. That is the property of closure. The right angles, they are like this. Yes? So they are very prone to the closure property, the principle of closure. And again, they overestimate the that line, the first line that you saw in Mullalaya illusion. They overestimate it and they consider it as a longer line. And again, people in Western countries, they are more prone to Mullalaya illusion. Okay, that is another example that describes that socio-cultural factors influence our perception. Okay, and then read up that topic. That's a general thing. Just read out and tell me if you have any doubts. Okay, we'll discuss the questions first and then we'll stop. Explain the functional limitations of sense organs. Anyone? General answers. They are all general answers. Functional limitations of sense organs. What are the limitations? For example, eyes. What are the
Eyes
limitations?
can see only up to a limited brightness, and even in darkness also there's a limit.
Yes, that is a limitation. And you can also write the range of the wavelength of light I gave you, no? What is it? 380 to 780, is it? Nanometer, nm. That is a limitation. You can give it as an example. Similarly, for auditory, you can not hear beyond a certain limit and below a certain limit. That you can write. You can even write the concept of absolute threshold. Then similarly, you can write all sense organs or all sensory modalities have their own limitations. Beyond certain range, you cannot perceive them or you cannot sense them. Okay, that is the answer. Now, what is meant by light and dark adaptation? No need to answer, no problem. What is color vision? No need. We don't have that in a portion. Auditory sensation also no need. Define attention, explain its properties. Attention's definition, I hope we wrote. What is the definition? Search. Got? Anyone? Alvina, what is attention's definition?
The process through which certain stimuli are selected from a group of others is generally defined as attention.
And in terms of properties, you can write about the search, concentration, focus, and all those things. We wrote the definitions of that, no? You can write that, okay? Now, state the determinants of selective attention. How does selective attention differ from sustained attention? Determinants of selective attention. What are the determinants? First, tell me what is sustained. What is the difference between sustained and selective attention? Aishwarya.
In selective attention, we select the particular stimulus from a variety of stimulus and
Ignore the rest.
ignore the rest. In a sustained attention, we select the stimulus that we want to attend to for a longer time.
Okay, then what are the determinants? Or the factors that influence selective attention? We've learned that. Two
Internal
sections.
and external.
Internal, external, and I hope you know to explain them also. Study that very carefully. That's a very important question. Then we have, what is the main proposition of Gestalt psychologists with respect to perception of the visual field? What is the main thing in Gestalt psychology?
See everything as a whole rather than its parts.
Everything as a whole rather than its parts. Then you can write about the good figure, the figure ground segregation, then define depth perception, or no, not depth perception, the Gestalt psychology, the form perception. Okay, form perception, pragnance or good figure. Then you can write the other thing, figure ground segregation. Okay, and if the principles are asked, then you have to write the principles also. If I ask principles of Gestalt psychology, if I ask principles of perceptual organization, both are the same. Okay. Then we have, how does perception of space take place? No, did we miss any question? No. How does perception of space take place? Yes, perception of space, how does that happen? In our retinal image, the 2D figure is formed, that is converted into what? Three-dimensional, and that is called what perception?
Depth perception.
Depth perception or distance perception. Then you can write about the space, what is space, the area around us, where we exist, where anything can be moved and all, is called space. We discuss all those points. Now, what are the monocular cues of depth perception? Explain the role of binocular cues in the perception of depth. That's clear, no? Monocular and binocular. Then, why do illusions occur? Misinterpretation of stimulus occurs, all those things. Yeah. Then, how do socio-cultural factors influence a perception? You can give two examples, Africans and the Western countries. So, we have completed that. Next class, we'll start the next chapter, learning. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.